ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिल शक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। Hari Om. So we are entering today, beginning 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Before we enter into the commentary, in general, the introduction is these three gunas, which we will discuss at length in this chapter, can be said as three different moods, distinct moods in the mind. So, mind is influenced by three kinds of moods. But the sattva, rajas, tamas, we will see later on. These three qualities, gunas, their proportions vary in many, many ways, infinite varieties. So, mixture of these three gunas or whatever is majority or majority is displayed in the mind in a given time and place, that alone is expressed out. So that rules our thinking, our behavior, our actions, our attitudes. So that moment, which mood is operating on us. And as a helpless victim to that particular mood, the combination, not a particular only sattva, always three together. The proportion varies, the formula varies. What is the percentage of sattva, percentage of rajas, percentage of tamas in a mixture? It throws up varieties of emotions. And so we are always victims of these three gunas. And three gunas are necessary, without which action we cannot live life. But we should use them, we should not become slave to them. That is the spiritual dimension where great masters used these three gunas, employed them, these three, in their work in the world outside. And all the three gunas are under their command. Those who have realized the truth, those who are very advanced on spirituality, those who have mastered their minds, these three moods are under their command. So they can create a particular feeling, a particular mood consciously. So they can drop whatever mood is not required consciously, they can drop. And whatever mood is required, that particular time, they can invoke that mood. And through that guna, they work in this world outside. So they are the masters. And these three gunas constantly are fluctuating. In waking plane, all the three come and go. Mixture. So this chapter deals with it, certain beautiful points which are important. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, we'll give introduction to the three moods and three gunas. Bhagwan says, Sarvam, Shankaracharya, Bhashya, Sarvam Utpadyamanam Kshetra Kshetrajna Sanyogat Utpadyate iti Uktam. In the 13th chapter, we saw whatever is produced, hey Arjuna, that is the result of Kshetra and Kshetrajna Sanyoga, the combination of the consciousness, the spirit, and the matter. Kshetrajna, the conscious entity, Kshetra is a field, matter. So, because of these two, when they come together, we saw in last chapter, the coming together also is very mutual superimposition, etc. When they come together, Sarvam Utpadyamanam, whatever is being produced, whatever is being created, it is result of the coming together of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. It was said like this. Tat Katamiti, how the Kshetra and Kshetrajna come together and create varieties of all these things, variety in the creation. Katamiti, tat pradarsanartham param bhuyaha ityadi adhyayaha arabhyate. In order to show how the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna produce these varieties of beings, varieties in the creation, to show that in this chapter which begins Param Bhuyam, it starts like that. Param Bhuyaha, first Shloka, 14th chapter, first verse. So Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam. Pravakshyami. I explain to you that we will see later. So Param Bhuyaha will start. This Param Bhuyaha Adhyaya Arabhyate. With the 14th chapter begins with Param Bhuyaha, with that sloka. Now, Athava or Ishvara Paratantrayoho Kshetra Kshetrajnayoho Jagat Karanatvam. Now, there are what we should see. The Bhagavan Krishna already said this Jagat Karanam, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the play of this, the cause of this entire Kshetra Kshetrajna play, Ishvara Parat, they are depending on Ishvara. They are not independent. Ishvara is bringing these two together. And because of Ishvara as a cause, the play between matter and spirit are going on. Jagat Karanatvam. So Jagat Karanatvam is Ishvaraha. The cause of the total creation is Ishvara. Natu Sankhyanamiva Swatantrayoho iti evam artham. Now in Sankhya, there are two types of Sankhyan philosophies. Nirishwaravada, Sa Ishvara Sankhya, Nirishwara Sankhya. Two schools of Sankhyan philosophy. In those two schools, one believes there is Ishvara, Sa Ishvara. 25 tattvas are there, principles, 24. 25th is Ishvara. Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Panchapranas, Panchamahabhutas, 20. Manabuddhi Chitta Ahankara, 4. All 24. Right. In Sankhya, that Sankhya division, the class of the school of Sankhya, one school believes there is Ishvara. In his presence, the game between Prakriti and Purusha, the Kshetra and Kshetra, this play of between spirit and matter are going on. There is another school where they don't believe Ishvara. They say it is because of this Prakriti and the natural causes. Even some scientists believe that. There is no God necessary. They just happen because of properties of chemical and physical properties of this matter in the universe, in the creation. They just keep changing and they produce similar, varieties of things and all. There is no need for God. That's called Nirishwara Sankhya. Now, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, it is not like Nirishwara Sankhya, the Kshetra Kshetrajna Samyoga coming together, the combination of the Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the knower and the field, knower of the field and the field, they are possible only because of the intelligent conscious principle which is substratum. So, because of that alone, all these things, the play between matter and spirit, the consciousness in the creation, the reflected consciousness, the Jiva and Jagat, Jiva and Prakriti, play going on. So, there Ishvara is required. We believe Ishvara only. It is not on its own they work. Now, earlier also, in the Bhagavan said, what is that? Purushaha prakritistohi hunkte prakritijan gunan. Purusha, who is seated in Prakriti, bhunkte, he enjoys what? Prakritijan gunan. Prakritijan gunan means what? The qualities born out of Prakriti. We saw in 13th chapter. So, Karanam Gunasangosya Sadasad Janma Yonishu. See, Asya Karanam Gunasangahasya. So, Purusha is seated in Prakriti and constantly experiencing. We saw in last chapter, 13th chapter, please refer again. Purusha Prakritistohi Bhunkte Prakritijan Gunan. This is the Karanam. Guna Sangaha, attachment with the Guna, is a cause for the Jiva in taking rebirth in the good wombs and or evil wombs. That we saw. So, therefore, here, Prakritistatvam Guneshu cha Sangaha Samsara Karanamiti Uktam. It was said earlier. The treated in Prakriti, identified with the gunas, is the cause of samsara. Sad asad janma yonishu. Kasmin gunehe katam sangaha. Now, in which gunas, how the attachments are taking place. Kasmin gune katam sangaha. What are the gunas? How this attachment is, the gunas are taking place. Keva gunaha. What are those gunas or qualities? Katham vate bhadnanti. How these gunas bind the person. Gunebhyascha mokshanam katham syat. How to get liberated from the gunas. Muktasya cha lakshanam vaktavyam. And what are the qualities or characteristics of a liberated person? Ityevam artham cha Bhagavan uvacha. Now these things are answered in this chapter. How Purusha, seated in Prakriti, continuously experiencing the world and getting himself caught in samsara. That was said in 13th chapter Bhagavan Krishna. Now the questions are right. Kasmin gune katham sangha? Which are the gunas are there? Which guna and how the sangha? Sattva guna ke saath kaisa sangha hota hai? How is that sattva rajas tamo gunas? So how the attachment shapes with sattva guna? What are the characteristics of attachment with rajoguna? What are the characteristics of attachment with tamoguna? So what are the qualities? What are the characteristics of attachment being attached to tamoguna? What are the characteristics of a person attached to tamoguna? What are the characteristics of a person attached to rajoguna? What are the characteristics of a person attached to sattva-guna? Plus keva gunaha. Which guna and how many gunas are there? What are those gunas actually? Katham vate bhadnanti. How these gunas actually bind the spirit to the matter? We are all bound by gunas only. How the gunas play and bind us to the matter? Plus, gunebhyascha mokshanam katham syat. How do I get liberated from the clutches of the prakriti or the gunas? How do I get liberation from this? Muktasya cha lakshanam vaktavyam. And also, what are the characteristics of a liberated person? All these things are to be told now. Therefore, vaktavyam iti gunebhyascha mokshanam katham syat muktasya cha lakshanam vaktavyam iti evam artham cha Bhagavan uvacha. So these are the questions are analyzed in 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now some more introduction I would like to give based on Puja Gurudev's commentary. Now self, first point. It is said very clearly earlier, in the earlier chapter, the Paramatma is seated in all the hearts, in all beings, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. Ya pashyati sapashyati. Vinashyatsu avinashyantvam. The Paramatma is seated in all the beings equally. See, samam sarveshu bhuteshu. But even though Paramatma is seated in all of us, in the hearts of all beings equally, but every being's experiences are different from person to person. Think about it. Every experience is different. Each individual experiences are different. If Paramatma is seated, same Paramatma, how can the variety can come? So distinctions in a nature between the plant, human and animal, they are very clearly obvious. And this endless variety of beings are created. Oh my God. And this endless variety is not possible if we say only the spirit is same in all beings. If the spirit is same in all beings, from this entire variety has come about? Think about it. And how can we say that spirit functioning through matter give rise to so many varieties of beings and varieties of products in the creation? And what is the cause of this very varied experiences? Each individual's experiences are different. Now I am talking to you. As I am giving this talk, my experiences are different from your experiences as a listener. Some may be some under some people who are under the influence of sattva guna, they are alert. Some are rajoguna, disturbed. Some are under tamoguna, they are listening but half-heartedly and sleepy mood. So, what is the cause for all this? It was said Purusha seated in the Prakriti, constantly experiencing all this. Now, guna here, it means actually not the properties actually. Guna is the rope also actually. Guna means not property here. Here, guna means what? It is not a properties of a material, but it is an attitude. Guna is sattvic attitude, rajasic attitude, tamasic attitude. Think. And different proportions when they are mixed, different varieties of attitudes are produced. So with these with these varieties of attitudes we are living, these varieties created by the three gunas in them, their moods in the mind. So therefore, Gurudev says three different climatic conditions are created in the mind. Three climatic conditions. I mean, broadly divided. Otherwise, the climatic conditions are, like for example, it's a Sandhya Kala. Sandhya means twilight, morning twilight and evening twilight. Even though we say morning Sandhya and evening Sandhya, that Sandhya Kala, that itself is a long duration. Meaning, the first ray of the sun rising, Sandhya begins. Night and both are existing. But how long? Till the sun rises completely, the orb of the sun, disk of the sun is visible, and complete darkness has gone. From the first ray to the total eradication of darkness, for some time it's called Sandhya Kala. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, what Sandhya period? Sandhya Kala, 30 minutes, 20, whatever time. Depending upon season, so many factors. Think. So that's a variety, no? So when you say Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas are three climatic conditions, they are not like compartmentalized, only three different conditions are produced. The combination of them produces varieties of climatic conditions. Sometimes clouds are partial, sometimes clouds are full. But partial clouds will give you partial rain. Sometimes full cloud also may not give you rain. So different climatic conditions inside the mind are created by the sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. And these three are seen in different doses in different individuals. The two, certain times and place, the doses change. The proportions, the degree of the presence of these three gunas are changing depending upon the place and time. If you go to beautiful ashram or temple, serene, calm, maybe sattvic mood is more. For some, that too. But somebody comes to temple with a great worry and anxiety, then rajoguna is more, sattva is there, but proportion is less. So like the different climatic conditions are created. Now, one more important thing is every one of us, we have to diagnose these gunas within ourselves. What is the mood now? What is the mood now? What is the mood now? Which guna is operating now? So each individual has to discover, each one of each one of us have to discover what are its proportions in a given time, in a place. Thus, I mean, this happens only what? How it is possible? How to diagnose? What kind of qualities are there? This happens only when I study the moods and their impact on my thinking and behavior, and how the body is responding, how the mind is responding, how sense organs are responding under the influence of the climate, a particular climatic condition, influenced by three gunas. So I must study them. Unless I study, I don't know what is happening to me inside. So, therefore, we must study the what you call symptoms of the gunas. Effects. Gunas are cause. Effects are produced. So I must study the various effects produced by these three climatic conditions. And then I can really analyze myself, who where I am standing, what I am doing, etc., etc., etc. I must study myself. These things, very essential. These three modes, if I don't study properly, I am carried away. This is a sign. This is inner. That's why a very important thing is that who is the manager of our life? Mind. But who is the manager of the mind itself? Somebody inside me. Me, the individual. So I must know, the individual in me, the higher self in me. I must know what is happening in the mind. This is possible only when I study the symptoms, or we can say effects of various gunas, and how they're influencing my behavior, my actions, my thoughts, my everything. So, in this chapter, 14th chapter, Bhagavan Krishna is training us in discovering or in detecting our own personalities. Detection. So, introspection through knowledge and detection through awareness. The aid to introspect is given to me by knowledge, by Bhagavan Krishna's knowledge, Geeta. So, this is the inner composition. These are the parts which you have. These are the influences. These are the effects produced by them. Combination of them produces a very, very rainbow type of colors. Vibjar produced in the mind, climatic conditions. So I must know what is what and what is that, what is this. Therefore, and we must cure the disease of these gunas by detecting our own inner personality. So therefore, to introspect, I need a torch of knowledge. To detect, I should not miss anything. I must be cultivating a high degree of awareness and commitment to redeem my clogged personalities inside from all its confusions and stress and strain, and make the mind free from all these influences, conditionings. Hmm. It's like, I must all have the knowledge of the vehicle if I want to travel for a long distance. Suppose I'm traveling through desert or on the mountains, like Badrinath, Kedarnath. I must have at least basic knowledge of the vehicle. Otherwise, it's risky for me to travel. Think. The symptoms of the vehicle I must know to handle the vehicle. Long back, long back. I am talking of 90. So we were traveling on a scooter during some work. Me and my colleague were coming, friend. Both of us are traveling same similar scooters, and it is a big highway. So in between, from outskirts of the city, we are coming back to into the city, and then suddenly his scooter stopped working. It stopped. I was behind him. Both of us are going together. The road was a little bumpy, highway, but some kind of. So in that, shock absorber was not so good in that. Maybe very weak absorber, shock absorber. Maybe perhaps. Because some cable which is connecting to the battery, so one cable inside. If you open that side dicky side covering, you can see in that scooter, with the particular model, that scooter, they have that kind of simple plug-in cable. Because of the shake, this cable came out, and there is no supply of the spark power. The electric supply stopped. The scooter stopped. And I knew this problem. I faced it and I learned it from mechanic. ये ट्राई करके देखना, वो भी कभी कभी ये भी हो सकता है, कभी कभी जेट साफ नहीं होने से भी रुक जाता है गाड़ी. ऐसे कुछ कुछ चीजें हैं बताया. So we learned something about how to change the puncture and then all those things. The puncture tire हो गया तो how to change the tire. Like for car also. Now I stopped it and then I said, no, 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 nothing here. He was telling yesterday only I got service done. Mechanic is, no, no, that's not a problem. Open the side cover, scooter side cover, right side. Then I said, see this cable is hanging there. I just removed it and plugged it inside. That's it. Power supply started, battery started, and then work started. Electrical thing. So if I know the behavior of my vehicle, I can reach destination wisely. I can drive my vehicle properly. So therefore, if I want to take a long pilgrim tour, knowledge of the vehicle is a must. And our journey is too long. Though the Paramatma is seated very close to us, but because of our ignorance, Paramatma is separated from us for long distance. Somewhere distance, distinct, separated from me in time and place as though, in time. Therefore, gunas, these gunas, play of gunas, are seen outside in the cosmos also, and they are also seen inside also. And in fact, when countries also, certain countries also are influenced. One particular guna rules the country, citizens of the country, a population of the country for some time. So some nations are in deep state of slumber, no activity, no dynamism, no progress, no commitment, just like living. And for somebody will come and somebody will help us, and very dull, no dynamism. Some nations are in deep slumber state, sinking. One part. Some nations are extremely rajasic. Swami Ranganathanandaji of Swami Ramakrishna Mission, he would always say this. Even today, the country, the youth, they have woke up from deep state of slumber in India. I'm talking about 30, 40 years back when he was lecturing. And therefore, good, you have energy to burn the buses, to do hartal, strikes, to destroy. Very good. You are awakened from deep sleep state. Energy is there. But energy is to be channelized by wisdom and knowledge. Energy is there. We don't know where to channelize. Therefore, Gurudev says channelizing the energy. Gurudev says three important things: generating the dynamism, conserving the dynamism, and channelizing the dynamism. Spiritual student, we must know how to generate that spiritual dynamism, energy in us, how to conserve that energy, that mental balance and knowledge and etc. How to conserve it, how to become aware of it and conserve it, and how to channelize it. So Gurudev would give the to that dam, collect the water in a dam. That's one part of it. So first of all, create an environment free from pollution for rains to happen. So we are generating that water by very decent behavior of human beings on earth, not irresponsible behavior. We are cooperating with nature. So nature devan bhavayata nena te deva bhavayantava. So devatas are blessing us timely rains because we are providing that environment, that we are facilitating that function of devatas by observing the laws of nature, by giving respect to them, by respect to the laws of nature, adoring the laws of nature. So the rain comes, proper rain. That's one part of it. Conserve, sorry, generate. Then conserve, put a dam, let the water be collected, stored in a well, in a lake, water stored, or catchment areas, that's called conserving. And then release it into the fields, wherever it is to be channelized. They're called channelizing dynamism. So, for all the things, I must know what are the, the properties of the vehicle, how to do it, how to use these gunas. Because the journey is long. I must know intelligently use. Tamoguna also is required for rest. Rajas also is required for activity. So, sattva also is required. So, more about it we see as we enter into the chapter. Therefore, now, earlier in 13th chapter also it was said, all the knowledge of the world outside is possible because of the light of inner knowledge, jnanam. It will come in the first sloka. Therefore, that knowledge is required. So Bhagavan Krishna begins this chapter very wonderfully by saying about importance of this knowledge. What is that? We will see. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अतः चतुर्दशोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयः प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमम् यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिमितो गताः श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयः प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमम् यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिमितो गताः. Now, Bhagavan started because 13th chapter continuation, because he touched upon gunas. And what is that knowledge? Supreme knowledge is that knowledge by which all the objective knowledge is revealed. Because of that one sunlight, the knowledge of the every object is revealed. So one sunlight is illumining. We saw Krushnam Ekam Ravihi Krushnam. Whole Jagat is illumined by Krishnam Jagat is illuminated by one Ravi, one Son Bhagavan, Surya Narayana. Tata Kshetram Kshetri, both Kshetra, Kshetri, the Lord, is Krishnam Kshetram Prakashayat. He is illumining the whole field that we saw in the 13th chapter. Now, here, Param Bhuya Pravakshyami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Param Jnanam iti Vyavahitena Sambandha. See, Param and Jnanamuttamam is there, no? Uttamam Jnanam. So that Param and Jnanam to be combined. So it is one. Param Jnanam Sambandha. Bhuyaha Punaha Purveshu Sarveshu Adhyayeshu Asakrutuktam api Pravakshyami. So see, Pravakshyami Bhuyaha means what? Again I will declare. Bhuya means again. Punaha. पूर्वेषु सर्वेषु अध्यायेषु असकृत उक्तमपि प्रवक्ष्यामि. I will explain to you. Even though this was explained to you in the previous chapters many times, bhuyah pravakshyami. See? Earlier I mentioned this about this truth and spirituality. I mean, Paramatma, the Jnanam, supreme knowledge, and how it is illuminating everything, and how all that we already saw it. Definitely we saw. But question is here now here is very important that bhuyaha is the word used, meaning again. Again. So Puja Gurudev always says repetition is unavoidable. Repetition is unavoidable in spiritual subjects, especially. In fact, any subject. Because punarukta dosham, Shastra says. That is another fault. Bar bar कहने से punarukta dosham. Here no. Spirituality may again and again has to be hammered. The truth. So punaha pravakshyami. Again I will declare the same truth which I already told. Bhuyaha he said no. Punaha. Again I will declare. Uktamapi, even though I spoke about this in the previous chapters. Tacha param paravastu vishayatvaach. Why? Because it is the matter pertaining to supreme consciousness, not the lower. It is pertaining to the higher knowledge. Because it is higher knowledge, deeper knowledge, subtle knowledge, difficult to grasp, I will declare it again. Param jnanam. Vastu param paravastu vishayatvat. What is that knowledge? The object of that knowledge is supreme reality. What is the Vishaya Vastu for that knowledge? What is Vishayam? Subject matter of that knowledge. Subject matter of that knowledge is Paramatma. Because that knowledge which reveals the Paramatma, that higher knowledge, therefore it is not easy to understand. Therefore, I will explain to you again, Bhagavan Krishna says. What is that? Param Parathabda Vishayatvat Param Jnanam. Jnanam Sarvesham Jnananam Uttamam. It is the best of the knowledges of all the available knowledges. So what is that knowledge? That knowledge by which every other knowledge is gained. Think. Therefore, that knowledge, in that knowledge what? Only when that consciousness is there, in the presence of that knowledge alone, in the presence of the sunlight alone, all other objects are illumined. In the absence of sunlight, no object is revealed. So that by which all other knowledges are possible, that knowledge is supreme knowledge. Therefore, jnananam uttamam jnanam. Otherwise, we can never know and we can never reach. Understand? See, for example, I got the knowledge of this object. We can say, मैंने इसके बारे में जाना. I gained this knowledge of the object. Okay. Now, who gained? I gained the knowledge. So, to gain that knowledge, first condition is you should exist. And of course, you should have proper brain, proper mind, intellect, indriyas, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, everything properly functioning. All those instrumentation or instruments are to be proper in condition, tuned. Okay. Now, we say, I gained that knowledge. Very good. Now, question is, without you, can you gain that knowledge? No. So, in that every knowledge that I gain, worldly knowledge, who is important? I. Now, do we have the knowledge of that I? What is the nature of that I? Is it the body? Is it the mind? Is it prana? Is it buddhi? What is that? Is it an attitude or what is that I say? Ego? What is that? Without which no knowledge can take place. Beautiful, no? So that knowledge, supreme knowledge, because of that alone, other knowledge just take place. I must exist, no? In deep sleep state, can I get a knowledge of any object? No, I cannot get it. So, ज्ञानानाम किम तत् ज्ञानम सर्वेषां ज्ञानानाम उत्तमम उत्तम फलत्वात् what that will give उत्तम फलम what is उत्तम फलम संसार निवृत्ति. Once I know who am I, there is no necessity for me to run after the object to gain the knowledge of the object. Now, what are we doing? What is in our life? In our life, we gain knowledge, just knowledge of the world of worldly objects, how to use it, how it gives me joy, how it make me happy, how to procure it, how long can I use it, how to use it, user manual, all the knowledge of the outer world. For what? For my happiness only, no? Do we wish to gain knowledge of anything which doesn't give me happiness or even a little pleasure or curiosity? I don't want to know. Children are there. Children doesn't want to know about every vastu, no? They are inspired only by certain movements, certain pictures, maybe certain what do you call articles, certain dolls and toys. They are very curious to know. And in the younger age, all knowledge, whatever they wanted to know, only one medium, that is mouth. So they want to know everything through mouth. They take the pen. I want to know this. What is that? So they put it in the mouth to know. So mouth is a very powerful tool for them to know everything. They try to know everything through mouth. So like that, we are also running after the curious to know for what? For happiness. So whole life we are searching. So this Uttam Phalam is what? Having known that why should I run after various knowledges, plural if I can use it, of the world and to try to make me happy when I myself am the real cause of every knowledge and I myself am blissful in my own nature. If I know that attitude, that dimension gives me liberation from all unwanted search. Search for what? Happiness. Where? In the world outside. How? By gaining the knowledge of the objects. So whole life is struggle of gaining knowledge of the various objects, how to use, how to gain, how it gives me happiness, how much it costs, this and that. Therefore, Uttama. Now, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is very clearly mentioning here, Jnananamiti na amanitvadinam. Because in the 13th chapter, when Bhagavan Krishna explained Jnanam and Jneyam, the Jnanam there, what we saw, Jnayate anena iti Jnanam there. Jnanam means the 20 values, amanitvamadam vitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, rarjavam, achar, yopashanam. All those values which we saw. We call them as jnana because they take me to that jnaya vastu. They prepare me, they purify me, they They are the means for me to reach Jnaya Vastu. But here Jnanam is not that means, the Jnanam as means. No. Here the Jnana means the Lakshya, the goal. Why? Again, in the last month also, I think I must have said in Bhagavad Gita, in the why this is also called as Jnanam, because the vehicle, the vehicle which takes me to a destination is named after the destination only. Madras Express, Mumbai Express, Delhi Express, Amritsar Express. Think. So the train is named after the destination. So similarly, this Jnanam instrument, I mean the sadhana means the values which were spoken that also were named as Jnanam only, but as a means to reach the Jnana Vastu, the Jnayam. Jnayam is Shuddha Jnanam. Pure knowledge is Jnayam, that which is ought to be known. So here he says, Jnananam iti na amanitvadinam. Kim tarhi yajnadi jnaya vastu vashayanam iti. So this knowledge is what? What is the Vishaya? Subject matter of yajna. Whatever yajna you do, whatever karma you do, whatever tapasya you do, ultimately to reach that Paramatma, to know, to be happy. So that one, Jnana Vishayam. So the object of the knowledge is what? The Paramatma, Jnaya Vastu. So that is referred here as Jnanam, meaning pure awakening, pure experience of the spirit that I am this. That is called Jnanam. That's called awakening. That's called enlightenment. That's called realization. That Jnanam. Tani na mokshaya. Idam to mokshaya. Iti parokta para uttama shabdhabhyam stauti srotru buddhi ruchi utpadanartham. Tani na mokshaya iti. Idam to mokshaya. Those the jnanam in the form of amanitvam, adambitvam, it doesn't give you the ultimate experience because they are the means. When they are practice it, antakana shuddhi takes place, the antarmukhatvam takes place, then the nididhyasana becomes very pakka, stable, and because of that nididhyasanam, that is deeper meditations, the Atman is revealed. So yajnadi karmas will not give you moksha. That's what I mean. Yajnadi jnaya vastu vishayanamiti. Yajnadi jnaya vastu vishayam is different. Yes, so supreme knowledge you are giving actually. But yajnadi karmas and all antakkana shuddhi, indirectly they will take you. But yajna vishayam is what? Swargam. Sargabhogam. That Sargabhogam knowledge is not we are talking about. Our Yajnadi Vishaya Karma Kanda will not give you moksham. They give you up to maximum Swargalokam. So that Karma Kanda will not liberate you. They take you to a particular realm and come back, bring you back. Idam to mokshaya. This jnanam, what we are talking about, Shuddha jnanam, not Yajnadi Karma Kanda jnanam. यदिदंतु मोक्षाय इति पर उत्तम शब्दाभ्याम स्तौति स्त्रोत्र बुद्धि सो पर उत्तम सी word as used no see param bhuya pravakshame jnananam jnanam uttamam so uttamam param these adjectives are used for this supreme higher knowledge indicating that this knowledge liberates us this knowledge is ultimate knowledge adhyatma vidya vidyanam. This is the ultimate knowledge. So that knowledge of the yajna yagadi karmas, that phalam is only swargadi, other lokas. But here it will reveal us the higher nature of our own self. Therefore, this knowledge is given to adject the param, supreme, and uttamam, the best of the available knowledges, the best. So, para, uttama, shabdhabhyam, the knowledge is praised by adding these two, supreme and the best. Having known which, yad jnatva, having known which, again there is no question of yad gatva na, what do you call, na nivartante. Tad dhama paramam mama. Having realized that dhama, that state of experience, realization, you will not return back again to the samsara. That knowledge, With yajnada yaga karma knowledge and all that, come back. Yad jnatva, yad jnanam jnatva prapya munayah sannyasinaha mananashilaha sarve param siddhim mokshakyam hitaha asmad deha bandhanat urdhvam gataha praptaha. Earlier, this is not, I am not telling this one. Earlier, many Mahatmas, many Munis, yad jnatva, having known this supreme knowledge, munayaha, mananashilavan, contemplative seekers, contemplative Mahatmas, Munis, survey, all of them, Idogataha, having dropped their physical bodies, Param Saddhim Idogataha. Itaha, having dropped these bodies, they all reached the Supreme. So, it is called, after leaving the body, they have practiced tapasya and videha mukti, they attained their own higher self, their own mukti, they got it by knowing this knowledge. So that knowledge having, so I am not giving you the first time that nobody has gone. No, I am giving you प्रमाण. कई लोग इससे पहले भी इस ज्ञान का आश्रय लेकर के ज्ञान साधना करके अपने आप को जान लिया, अपने आप का स्वरूप, अपना स्वरूप को जानने के बाद, शरीर छोड़ने के बाद विदेह मुक्ति, they have reached supreme state. See? So, therefore, Bhagavan, our Krishna continues, idam jnanamupasritya mama sadharmyamagataha sarge pinopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha idam jnanamupasritya mama sadharmyamagataha sarge pinopajayante Pralayena vyathanti cha idam jnanopasritya, having worshipped or having taken refuge in this great knowledge, ashritya, samipataha ashritya, going near, go take shelter nearby, near at the feet of Lord, meaning having reached him, having keeping, invoking him in our own hearts, upashritya, idam jnanam, having approached him, taken refuge in him, upashritya, this knowledge. This supreme knowledge. What knowledge? That which I am going to speak. The knowledge of the vehicle is a must, and knowledge how to transcend is a must. And what are the what is the nature of mukti, and what are the characteristics of the mukta purusha? All those things will be explained. Idam jnana mama sadharmyam agataha. They attained my being. Agataha already past. Munayaha sarve purve. All the great rishis in the past, having contemplated and having gained this knowledge, they attained my being. It's a very beautiful thing. Sadharmyam. Sadharmyam means it is not a similarity in quality, but it is an identity. That's very important. Mama sadharmyam means identity. That discovering idam jnanam यथोक्तमुपाश्रित्य ज्ञान साधनम अनुष्ठायति एतत् मम परमेश्वरस्य साधर्म्यम मत्स्वरूपताम आगताः प्राप्ताः, they attain my being. There is a difference between Guru and Ishvara, the awakened being and the Ishvara. Natu samana dharmata sadharmyam, it is not similarity, samana dharma. भगवान के अंदर जो लक्षण है इनके भी वही लक्षण आ गया है, मगर दो दो अलग अलग है. नो नो, क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ क्षेत्रज्ञ ईश्वरयोः भेद अनभ्युपगमात् गीता शास्त्रे फलवादश्च अयं स्तुत्यर्थम उच्यते. In this, it's a there is oneness, identity is realized but between Kshetrajna Ishvarayoho. Because who is Kshetrajna? Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Ityabhidiyate Etadyo Veti Tam Praho Kshetrajna iti Tadvidaha. So Kshetrajna and Ishvara are not different, they are one and the same. So they attain that supreme being. So state of spiritual perfection, Mama being. Bhagavan Krishna was perfect, Paramatma. So you attain my being. Okay. So therefore, Bhagavan Krishna used, first person singular, Mama, many times. Because Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Bhagavan Krishna is none other than Bhagavan himself. In Gita Sambandha Bhashya, Shankaracharya spoke that Kela Babhuva Bhagavan. That Paramatma Krishna is none other than the infinite Paramatma, only in that form. Paramatma was born. Okay. Now, Sarge Api. What is the benefit of this? Sarge Api. Now, in the time of creation, he is not born. And when pralaya dissolution takes place, he is not afflicted or affected. Because this creation and dissolution, as beautiful says, they are the trick of the mind. Creation is a trick of the mind. When we don't experience anything through mind, there's no creation. When what is a mind? Gurudev says, Maya at play is mind. And what is the function of the mind? Creating thoughts, ideas, notions. At the totality level, the total Prakriti creates. So this awakened man is not sargayapi na upajayate. He is not born again. So when last time, last sloka, last chapter, that we saw the disease of becoming, bhuta prakriti moksham cha. We get liberated from becoming something. We'll just be. So what is creation? Always identifying with the change. And if the change is constantly happening, so every time I'm a newborn because of my identification. There's a great Mahatma who said, oh, I don't have another Janma. I don't have another life. Okay, sir. Thank you, Guruji. Immediately the Guru will add. It doesn't mean I have one right now. Meaning, right now also I don't have any Janma. It's a trick of the mind. Puja Gurudev would say, always say, I am never born. I am never born. So this being, it's not. Pralaya, at the time of death, there's no vyatha. Death is change again. It's a change. Every change you can call it as a birth of a new thought and the death of the previous thought. Every change. And when the change takes place, it's a birth of a new thought, meaning death of the previous condition. I am actually now affected by change. Samsara is change. I am afflicted. Every time I am born, every time I'm taking birth, every time I'm dying. These two will become absent. So means what? And from subjective understanding, stop becoming taking birth and death, feeling death. Vyatha, change is the good thing has gone. The change is really creating a death. Every death I'm suffering. Because the change, if it is bad, gone, okay, I'm enjoying. But again, that will also good will go. So at the time of death also, when the body is being dropped, that level, or the pralaya, and I'm not born. So these, the cosmic cycle, or individual birth and death, or moment to moment, that we are taking birth and death, all these things are stopped. I am not born when a new thought is born, and I am not dead when the thought is dead. I am illumining these two conditions in the mind. So I must know. Therefore, this is a benefit. You will become changeless entity. And Swatasya, the Swarupam is what? Satchidananda Swarupam. That is the benefit. That is the phalam of knowing this jnanam. So more about it, we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnodachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all. Hari Om.